Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm Gat, your host. Now, this natal chart reading will be about healing. We've done it earlier, but now we're going to go back into it to look more for healing. Now, the first thing we have to understand about natal charts is because the person was asking about their first house and they were asking about the retrogrades and things. They're good questions, but we have to understand how the natal charts are. Whenever you see the AC and the EP in the same house, that's automatically going to become your first house. So even though it says 12, and I did explain that, but just to restate it, and it has to do with past life, present life, and that's the best way I explain it, is that if you were in the past life and you had things to work on and you did not, then you're probably going to end up with your first house in the 12th house because you still have stuff in that 12th house to work on. Now, to read the natal chart, it does become the first house, but you may want to remember 12th house because sometimes it may have something to do with your twin. And that's why I said this is very serious. It's not a game. Out here on YouTube, it just seems like people are just looking for love. They could give a damn less about the facts. They're just looking for love. So they don't care. They don't want to do the natal chart. They don't like somebody like me who tells the truth. I don't talk to them like they're 3 years old and talk about love, 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 everything. I tell them the truth and they don't like it. But I like the fact that I'm not changing. I could care less. I watch my views go down to 2 in some locations, and I'm still just being me. So I'm here for a reason. As I said, as above, so below. You can see on the space chart, you would see that the true north node is in Leo. Why is the true north node in Leo? Because Leo's going to tell the truth. The real Leos. I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for myself. And if you notice, it's kind of ironic how everything we're talking about is in his house. I'm sorry, in this person's house. And it is still Leo. Actually, with the moon in Leo. So they've actually got the moon and the sun because the Leo is the sun sign. So you got the yin and the yang. The yin and the yang. The divine masculine, divine feminine. And then you got the priestess with Vesta. So what I want to do is I really want to go to the website because you can count this. I don't know if the person knew that, but you count this. Like I don't just come up with any number. I go based on what the universe is saying. So we can count it in the system as well. And at times, there are times when you have to use common sense. Because sometimes you'll see 2 planets literally right next to them in the same house, and they'll still go like, they'll try to count it 2 different houses, but you got to remember you only have 12 houses, and this is all about energy, if you can remember that. But if they're right next to each other in the same house, to say this is this house and that is that house, that's a little silly. I mean, I can understand it, but it's still a little silly. All right, so give me a moment, trying to get my thoughts together. All right. All right. And of course, we're under a new moon. It's February 15, 2018 at 8:37 p.m. evening in the United States of America. East Coast. All right. So what I'm doing right now is looking for, I logged into the system, looking at a person's natal chart up. All right, we'll go right in. right. See what I'm looking at, this is my point. So when I go to the third house, you see Libra, right? You see all three of those. You see Keras, the asteroid, Pluto retrograde, and then you see the true north node. Now in the system, it will go second house Keras, second house Pluto, and then third house Libra. See, that's foolishness. How is that the third house? It's in the same, even they got it in between the 2 and the 3, so how's that the third house? So you have to use a little common sense. But anytime you see ascendant with the EP in the same house, that is going to be your first house. And if it's counted as 7, it's still a past life. You didn't work on it in the past life, or you didn't overcome it in the past life, what you were supposed to work on. Because your 12th house is supposed to be the finality. This is where you're reckoning. This is your karma. You address everything in the 12th house, which makes you ready to go into the next life at house number 1. But sometimes if you don't do that, your house 12 becomes house number 1 in this life. And that's what happened. And that's why when I put my cursor over the AC, it goes back to house 1, even though it's clearly that AC is in the 12th house. It's not even on the border. And when you go to EP, they kind of say 12 for that, and kind of says 12 for everything else. And then we'll go to the next. I'm just going to go all around. Now we'll go to Uranus, which for me would be the 4th house. And they still count that as 3. And then when you go to Juno, again with me would be the 4th house. And now they count Juno as 4. And then when you go to Neptune, which would now be the 5th house, they count it as 4 again. Now when you go to Vertex, which to me now becomes the 6th house, they count it as 5. Now when you go to the 6th house, where Mars is, and let me count, make sure my count is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, that Mars will be 7 under my count. The count is 6. But now go to Good Fortune, which is still will be my 7 because it's not on the border, it's below the border or the crust. And now they count it as 7. So if you watch what they're doing, they go away from my count, but then they go back to my count. So that's why I said you, like if you're in court and a person is speaking and they're consistent and another person is wavering, like 1 minute they're disagreeing with the person, but then they're being consistent, the court's going to notice that that person is wavering. They're going to go with the consistency. Because why are you agreeing with somebody? You're disagreeing with them 1 minute, then you're agreeing with them. And you're sounding a little fishy because they've been consistent every time they started talking. So you have to remember that. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going into the 8th house, which is very important because this is your soul house. So they count Mercury at 7. They count Mercury as your 7th house. But let me see. Mercury is 7 and they count your Sun as 7. But I would count that as your 8th house. Now when you get into your 9th house with Aries, now they're counting Venus at 9. Now they're agreeing with me again. And Chiron is below that border or that crust. Well, I would count that as 9 as well. So that's 9. So now they're agreeing with me again. So you can't do that. You understand? You can't. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. Now, whenever you see medium coeli, now that whole thing should be your 10th house. When you get to Lilith, see that count Lilith is 9, even though it's in the 10th house. Then they count medium coeli as 10. Then they count Jupiter as 10. That's what I would have counted as 10. I would have counted the whole thing as 10. Then the next house is your 11th house, but there's nothing there. So then when you go over to the Vesta, Vesta now is in your 12th house. But the truth of the matter is, that would have been your 11th house if they didn't put your ascendant and your EP in your 12th house. But now Vesta counts as 11. But because of what they did, see, they even make, and they make a, so Vesta would be your 12th house because this does become your first house. And like I said, it is all about energy, but it would be very confusing because it wouldn't make literal sense. And anywhere else in life, you wouldn't do that. Like if you had 12 squares and you said we're gonna have 24 people, you're not gonna go 1, 2, but in this square, in square number 3 is 2 people. You're not gonna go 1, 2, 3, 3, because you're gonna mess your count up. You're no longer gonna have 24 people. If you said 12 squares, I'm gonna put 2 people in 12 squares. All right. So that's common sense. 2 people in 12 squares, the total is going to be 24. But if you start going, well, it's 2 people in this square, 1, 2. 2 people in that square, 3, 4. But I'm going to put 3 people in this square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Because it's in the square, so you're not going to count it as a difference. You're going to count it as a part of that square. It's not going to be 24. It's not going to be 24 according to the symmetrics. Kind of like, I'm trying to explain it to a way a person can understand it. It's kind of like you have a kitchen, you have a bathroom. So you're not going to put the tub in the kitchen. The tub will go in the bathroom. So you just don't do that. And if you do, what will happen is this. It's not going to make that big of a difference. And the greater energy will always be the house. In other words, if you have a planet in the 4th house, but you want to count it as if it's the 5th house. Or if you have a planet in the 4th house, but you want to count it as it's the 3rd, the greater energy is still going to be whatever sign is in that house and whatever that house stands for. So this is about energy. So that's the best way I can understand it. But because your AC and your EP are both in Leo, that became your first house. And I explained why, because of past life. And that's why you have that retrograde. You got a couple of retrogrades because you're still dealing with past life issues, which we will be talking about. Like with astrology and with twin flames and twin souls, I know everybody's looking for feeling a certain way and everybody's looking for love. But you got to look at it like this. As above, so below. Above comes first. And above is speaking to us on how to do things. That's why the 12th house is so important, because it's about reckoning. It's about taking all our dark sides and things we need to work on and things we need to heal from and doing something about it. But what negative energy does, it says, oh, just love. Oh, don't worry about all that. That doesn't matter. Just love. And people really believe that. So what happens is they might find their twin or find love, but they don't know nothing about character. And they don't know nothing about discipline. And so that doesn't last. But if they knew how to study and knew how to know character and discipline, that's where loyalty comes from. Loyalty comes from character. I don't care how much you love somebody. Just because you love somebody a lot doesn't mean you won't cheat on them. Because you hear that all the time. Somebody cheats, gets caught, and they're crying, I love you, oh, please forgive me, I love you. But that person had no discipline. Or no character. Because even if they messed up, they could have manned up or woman up. They didn't have to consistently keep cheating on you. But that's because, what do? We don't care what 3rd house or 4th house. We don't care about none of that crap. All we want is somebody to love us. And we don't care. And then once we get to love, well, you know what? Now maybe somebody else will love us. Or now this person's getting on my nerves. You understand? Because there's no character. That's why nobody takes notes. Nobody wants to concentrate. Nobody wants to think. It's a very few people that do that. And then guys like me are hated because we tell the truth. But the universe knew that. Again, if you look at a space chart, you're going to see the true north node in Leo. Because Leo is the lion and he's been sent to do what he does. Because one thing about the creator, they're not playing. This was done for a reason. Everything you're looking at was done for a reason. And when you really want healing, you got to listen to what the universe is saying. But you're right. Sometimes you could just go eat some ice cream and you might heal. I understand the part about feeling. Feeling is good too. You might just go for a nice walk on a beautiful day and that you feel like that healed you a lot. Nobody's disputing that. But what we're saying is something was put in motion by the creator, by the universe, that also is going to help you. And that's going to help you, and it's going to go deeper. That's why you're talking about the 12th house and stuff like that. It goes deeper. So we don't want to consistently disobey your natal chart. And a lot of people don't even see the need to get a natal chart. Or they say, oh, I don't like the way he talks. I don't like this and that. But it really has nothing to do with me. It's your natal chart. So what you should be more interested in is your natal chart and how you can apply your natal chart. Not other stuff, because that's just silly. It's not like we know each other and stuff like that. I'm basically showing you what's on the chart. It's not that serious. And if you're that much of a coward, what are you gonna do in a relationship when that person gets on your nerves? Run, go cheat on them. So it's not that. It's serious because people maybe they don't have a maturity level, but it's not really that serious. It's about getting the information, taking notes, making some goals for yourself, and trusting the universe to help you out. That's all it is. All that other stuff is external. But most people, if they get some music behind the video, or somebody's talking to them like they're 3 years old, or somebody's promising them all this unbelievable love and stuff, they go for it. And they'd rather spend up way more money on that than just get a natal chart, which ain't really ain't that expensive. Especially like me, because if you compare what I charge compared to other people out here, one natal chart is $150 with Dr. Stanley. And that's not even about twin flame stuff or all that other stuff that I talk about. So again, I went all the way around and try to prove my point. There's no way they can agree with me 1 minute and disagree. Either they're right or they're wrong. And nobody's going to sit here and say, okay, these two houses are together, but since this one says third house and that one says second, even though we're in the same house, I'm going to do it that way. Because to me, that just doesn't make logical sense. The domination of the power is going to be whatever house it's in. If that element is in the second house, that's what it is. And it's only 12 houses, so you got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't start. So like let me show you the hypocrisy. If somebody was cutting you a piece of pie, and you watch them cut it, and you like it's your favorite pie, and you watch them cut everybody's piece or whatever, and everybody got the same. Understand the same amount of the slice. But when they got to you, they gave you a reason and gave you like a little sliver of that pie. You would be ready to fight. What are you doing? Everybody else got a full. It's what is it? So a pie. Yeah. So everybody else, it's a 12-piece pie. 12-piece pie. And everybody else got like a whole piece. But when they got to you, they cut a sliver and said and gave you a reason. You wouldn't accept that reason. So if you wouldn't accept that reason nowhere else, why accept it on a natal chart? It doesn't make sense. So you have to stay logical. All right. Now, and that's what I mean by symmetrical, logical. You would never put a tub in the kitchen unless you had to. But if you had a bathroom, your tub will go in the bathroom. Your kitchen will have the kitchen sink. Like when people are logical, nobody would ever say, oh, could I use your bathroom? You say, sure, and they walk into the closet. It doesn't make sense. So you just wouldn't do it. And that's why I just try to tell people certain things. Everybody has a position. And just like if you want the same thing, more hypocrisy. Because if you love to play basketball, you're not going to be throwing a ball to somebody who can't shoot. You understand? Well, not if you want to win the game. You're not going to throw the ball to the person that's never made a shot. They can't even do a layup. You probably wouldn't even want that person on your team if you want to win. So that's why I said everybody has a position. Everybody has a role. And it's just something that's funny about humans that when it comes to relationships, they get real silly. Two things they get real silly about: religion and relationship. Anything else, like you got to get up early. You got to be at your job. You have to be in your seat. You have to do a good job. All the stuff and like nobody has to tell you. If your boss tells you, like if you logged in or something, log out, I want to talk to you. You're just going to do what you're told. You're not going to go, well, am I still getting paid? Because if I log out, I might not get paid. I want to make sure I get paid. I don't want to log out. You ain't going to keep giving them no flack, especially if the way he said it, you could tell he's not playing. If he or she is not playing and they say, log out, I want to talk to you, first you think you're going to be thinking, like, I hope I'm not in trouble. I hope I'm not going to lose this job. I need this job and blah, blah, blah. But if it's somebody like relative or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, then here come the trash talking, here come the attitude, here comes all this stuff that's not really necessary. But again, I'm talking from, because I'm in the United States of America. Over here, especially East Coast, everybody's a tough guy. Everybody's a badass. And so that's what you get. Ask somebody what time it is. Instead of somebody just telling you what time it is, it's got to be somebody smart talking back. So it's hypocrisy. Because the way we talk to the people we claim to love or a family, we would never talk to like our employer like that or somebody like that. So that's what I'm saying. We tend to get silly whenever it's a relationship or a religious type stuff. But astrology is the same way. It's not that difficult. People make it difficult for different reasons. But you order your chart, you take notes, you listen, and then you start making some goals based on it, and you can't go wrong. That's why with my situation, I never flipped out over that because I knew I was doing what I was supposed to. Because nobody's perfect, I admit that. But you know, whatever my twin was going through, that's something deep inside of her. And until she's ready to grow up, there ain't nothing I could do. I would have been wasting my time, but I already knew that because I've been on this planet for a nice amount of time, so I don't fall for that silly stuff no more. So she would have to really get astrology. She would have to want to and I showed her what she could do. I showed her where to go and stuff like that to learn more. So she would have to want to, do astrology, learn more about twin flames, and she'd want to have to get her act together. But to this day, she's still not. So until she did that, that would never go nowhere. So it does take a little bit of maturity. But like I said, we understand that when it comes to a job or anything we really want in life. Like if you really want something in life, you know to get up and get your shit together and get going. But for some reason, when it comes to relationships or religion, we just get really stupid. And this is just planet Earth. So like I said, I've been here long enough to know this, and people are just mad because I tell them the truth. But it's not pessimistic. It's like a person's got to say, hey, you know what? I want to get my shit together. And that's why I'm saying, if they took your first house and put it in the 12th house, it is what it is. There's no way around it. Not saying you're trying to argue against it. I'm just making that perfectly clear to anybody that's listening. They knew what they were doing when they did it. And what we have to do is find out why. And that's what we're going to do in this. Why did they put the 12th house in the first house? And what about these other retrogrades? And how is that going to help a person heal? But I just gave you the first thing. First, you got anything else. Like if you were an alcoholic, you have to stand up and say, I'm an alcoholic. My name is so-and-so. We got to take responsibility. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. And some people say, oh, you should just love me unconditionally. But like in real life, who's going to love somebody that's really effed up? Like you got to do something about. You would never say that to your boss. Jim, for the last 4 months or so, productivity's been down, and we got to get our productivity up. It's no other way, Jim. We really got to expect everybody to get here early, stay late if necessary, and get their productivity up. And then Jim looks at his boss and says, listen, you knew who I was when you hired me. This is the way it's always been. I don't know why you think it's going to be a change. You would never say that to your boss, but you'll say it to somebody you claim to love in a relationship with. So that's my point. And they get mad at me for just telling it. And I think it's hilariously funny that they get that upset at me. For what? So, because I don't want to play this game that you guys play? Oh, a new twin flame video. Everybody goes running to that. Well, what about the last one? What did you learn from the last one? Every new twin flame video comes out has hundreds of thousands of people running to it. What about the last 50 or 60 or 100 twin flames? Did that help you with your relationship? Or is anybody taking notes? And how come there's not more videos that say I found my twin, or thanks to this video over here, me and my twin are together, or this is how I got my twin? It's not a whole lot of videos like that. Just a whole lot of videos just keep talking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine is calling you and all kind of crazy stuff. So that's why I said somebody out here has to be the different voice, even if nobody's really listening to it. But it has to be. Just like I don't know if you know the story about the naked king. He's walking around with no clothes on because they led him to believe that he's wearing some high tech clothes that are the best thing on the market. But he doesn't have no clothes, he's a dude, and only one little kid said, "Hey, you don't got no clothes on, king." So I don't know. Because I really don't think a person's like you may get a little love, you may get a little sex, but it's not really gonna last. Your life is not really gonna change until you are man enough or woman enough to change. You got to change because that's the only way anybody's gonna change around you. And therefore, when you meet somebody, whether it's your twin or somebody else, they'll know that they can't run the same foolishness on you that they run on everybody else, because that's what we have. You know, I don't know about other countries. I can only speak at the country I'm in. But you got all these kids. We wondering who the baby daddy is and just all kind of crazy stuff. But that's because they don't want to listen to structure. If anybody's talking structure, they don't want to hear it, and that's what Saturn represents too. Structure and stuff like that. They don't want to hear that. They just want to do what they want, and then they want to say, "Oh, Jesus will forgive me," or they'll say, "Well, nobody's perfect," or they say, "You should love me the way I am," or they say, some other stuff. They got every excuse in the book to do whatever they want to. But this is what I'm trying to tell you. The Creator says, "I'm not going to be mocked. Whatever you're doing, you're going to reap." And when you study your natal chart, that's why they're telling you. Again, that's why you'll find the 12th house in the first house, because in the past life, the person didn't work on the 12th house stuff. So now they got to work on the 12th house again, but they still got to start with this life, which makes it the first house. So that's what we're going to look at. Now, the reason why I gave you that long instruction, because of the simple fact, that's how serious it is with the universe. Not saying it can't be fun, not saying it can't be exciting, but it's saying that we have to get to the point where as above, so below. It didn't say as below, so above. They don't follow us. We're supposed to be following them, the people that put your natal chart together. This is your Bible for life. And when the more you bring yourself in and stand on this, the better your life will become, because you'll stop just working. It has to be a balance between feelings and emotions. It can't just be feelings. And like my twin, no matter what she does, she already knows that, okay, he's a little bit more mature. So she already knows that. Because we're not going to do the kind of stuff she's into, because she's into a lot of creepy, weird stuff. And I'm not into that at all. All right, so it would have to be a compromise, but she'd have to grow up a little bit at the end of the day. Now, for the 12th house, which became the first, see, even in the main thing I'm looking at is Lilith retrograde. Main thing you see there is the 17th, but that's usually karma. And 22, of course, is like the twin flame number. All right, let's do that. Let's just see what they say about Leo. We're doing two things. We're gonna look at it Leo, because we already know what Leo in the first house is, because that's just how the world sees you: leader, having fun, childlike personality, taking risks, creative, loyal, a lot of energy, sunny. So we know that would be Leo in the first house. But let's just look at Leo in the 12th house. Just give me a moment. All right, let me look at your chart. Mystic May USA. All right. So we're gonna look at. Give me one moment. All right, good. This is astrologyclub.org. Okay, it says compassionate and sensitive. You shine your light to gain attention, so you are in a position to share the spotlight with others. Because your 12th house is about others. That's the house of sacrifice. And again, we've already covered if it was your first house, but now because it's technically your first house, but it should have been your 12th house. So that's why we're looking at it both ways. So whenever you're in the 12th, whatever sign is in that 12th house, they want you to use that energy for other people. But you have to be careful because it's the house of sacrifice. It's ruled by Pisces, and that's about sacrifice. But you don't want to sacrifice who you are and yourself for other people. So even though you are going to be Leo and helping people and shining your light on people and all fun and everything with people, you still have to be strong enough or Leo bold enough to tell them no. Like they may get a little too expecting you to, oh, you know, they got it. They'll take care of me. Oh, they're such a shiny, happy person. They'll do it. They'll pick me up. They'll drive me all around the world. Oh, no, you help them out. You know, you sacrifice for them a little bit and you help them. But then you also have to be bold enough to tell that person no. But now, why Leo would be in the 12th house? Well, maybe usually what they're saying is at some point in your life, you used your Leo, but it was more like for a for just for yourself, because Leos can be kind of high-minded and Leos can be boisterous and they love attention on themselves. So by putting Leo in your 12th house, now you're supposed to use that same energy, but to also help other people, shine it on other people. And they even use the word healing. They say you deeply desire to heal the lives of others and can be so generous you may martyr yourself. So I already warned you about that. So you don't want other people to say take all your shine. You don't mind in the 12th house, you don't mind sharing your shine or helping people how to develop their own shine, but you still have a right to have your own personality as well. So that's the whole point of Leo in the 12th house, that you're going to help people shine. Whereas before, you may have just said, oh no, this is all about me. This is all about me. So now they're saying, no, you got to learn how to shine on other people. But at the same time, you still have a right to keep your personality as well. So that would explain 12-1. Because the first house, your personality. The 12th house, you're using the same energy to help other people have a shiny personality like you. See? Makes sense. So they're letting you know that the 12th house is the house of soul and karma. So they want you in the 12th house to have selfless service and universal principles and true spiritual values. So again, they say the same thing I say, even when I do the angel cards. They usually say exactly what I'm saying. But because I say it, I get in trouble for it. You understand? Like I'm the bad guy. But that's wherever you go. The more mature person is always going to be the bad guy. Even if their intention is pure and selfless, people are still going to be like, oh, I don't like that person. I don't like his tone. I don't like what he's saying. Because people want to do what they want to do, and they still want to be right. Even if that means cheating on somebody or whatever else, they still want to be right. And it takes somebody to tell them, no, that's wrong, and this is why it's wrong, and you're not going to get away with it, because you better look at your natal chart. God does not want to be marked. That's why you have karma. You got all kind of stuff. You got stuff about people burning in hell. You got all kind of stuff warning you that if you do some creepy stuff, some bad stuff, you got to pay for that. And believe me, years ago, that it was normal for people to know that. But now, because of negative energy, people think, oh, the Bible's outdated. Oh, you sound stupid. Everybody cheats. That's just how it is. Oh, it's no big deal. If they don't know about it, how can it really hurt? And you got all this craziness that people are believing, and they believe they can do whatever they want, and they're not going to be held accountable for it. But they're making a big mistake. Now, they say one of the weaknesses of Leo is not to take into consideration the feelings and the rights of others. The element of compassion and understanding could mitigate this particular negative quality. Leo must be willing to merge himself with the totality of the universe. And that's what Leo in the 12th house is about. Otherwise, he becomes an island, insulated from the universe which he ultimately seeks to be united with, a true universality. The lesson of Leo in the crux of the 12th house is to recognize the personal ego as a part of the universal cosmic substance. And of course, this then incorporates the humility aspect. It is the totality of self, as said before, as part of the oversoul. The consciousness of Leo should be transmuted from personal self to universal self. So that's what the Leo is in the 12th house is about. Now, the sun is natural ruler of Leo. The sun represents the soul on a mundane level. It emphasizes the soul qualities which should be developed by the Leo. On a higher octave, the sun represents the triune aspect of the Trinity of God, and it then implies that Leo, on the crux of the 12th house, must raise his consciousness to cosmic levels rather than just to the level of the personal self, personal desires, and personal power. So they're saying if your Leo is in the 12th house, it may be implying that you're at the finality of your growth of the ego that emerges with the universe. And ironically, this was last updated on February 19th, 2015 at 1:12 a.m. So it's now February 15th, 2018. So that's unique. I would call that unique synchronicity. All right. And also now the moon is going to help Leo be psychic, because see the moon in the 12th house. And again, I know it's the first house, but we still got to treat it as the 12th. The moon in Pisces rules the 12th house. And that's all about sacrifice and spirituality. So the moon, so it would also be kind of psychic. And like I said, it's also the balancing of the moon energy and the sun energy of Leo. And Vesta is a priestess. So Vesta's there, and that's where you would spend most of your energy at in this house. So remember, the first house, all that means is that would be your personality. And plus it's your moon sign. So your moon sign and it's your ascendant. So that's interesting. So your moon sign and your ascendant is both Leo. So on your first house level, and you would still be the sunny Leo, but you're also an emotional Leo as well. And also, like, it's a lot of hidden stuff. So anything hidden, you would also address in the 12th house, and that's why people have to really be honest, take notes, and be honest with yourself. Because in that 12th house, you're really supposed to be working on all that stuff. And then your 12th house is also going to be Cancer. So let's deal with that. So again, that's family. So what's ever going on in your 4th house, and the moon. See, the moon also rules Cancer. See, they know what they're doing. That's why they're making your 12th house, your first house is connected, but then your 12th house where Cancer is, the moon rules Cancer. So you're still doing it in your first. So your first house is your 12th house, but you got two 12th houses because of what I said. It's really not it sounds complicated, but when you start taking notes and slow it down, it's not complicated at all. It's just stuff you got to work on. And then all of us got stuff to work on our charts. That's why I honestly don't see why it's a big deal. But people have been dumbed down, and they just want to be children. They just want what they want, and they don't want you to talk to them a certain way, and they don't want they want you to talk to them like a baby, and they want you to just say words like, oh, you're gonna be in love, and oh, the 7th house with Venus, and oh, your twin is calling, your divine masculine is calling, and the divine feminine is calling, and everybody's calling. And you got all these videos coming out, but all these people are not in union. Some of them might be finding it, but they might have found it without the video. Like, if you start working on your natal chart, you will find union. And like I tell you, you could call Eve, call Jessica. She'll tell you. I've been and told her if she remembers me saying it. Like, if you just got to work on yourself, your twin will start to come around more as you work on yourself. Your twin is you. But if you try to push the issue, like if you be trying to make your twin wake up and all that, he could call the cops on you. Because he's not ready yet. You could get stalking charges. They're not ready yet. You got to work on yourself. So you want to know what your chart says. That's it. And like I said, for me, this is everything because I know it's a universe. See, I understand the universe. I don't take stuff for granted. Like, I fear God. Like, I understand the universe. So to me, this is a universal obligation that I have. And I told anybody, all you have to do is look on a natal chart, and you see that the true north node is in Leo. Because Leo has been assigned by the universe to help all the rest of these signs. And they used to tell you when you went to school, Leo is the king of the jungle. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's only when people, their ego. See, this is what's really up. They accuse me of having an ego, but they're the ones with the ego. Because you don't see me, man. I get bad mail too. I get bad emails. I'm not out here flipping out. Somebody told me I was weak. I was like, okay, let's talk about it. How am I weak? Let's talk about what do you mean by weak? Let's talk about it. And they wouldn't talk about it. So you have people that are caught up in their egos, but they accuse me of it. When all I'm just trying to teach. But I'm not going to deviate from what I know to be true. So what you just heard was your connection between, which says number 11, but that's your number 12 house, your Cancer, your Leo, but also Cancer is in your 11th house, which means friends and family and friends association and groups. So all of this is in your 12th house because they want you to use your Leo, your sunny Leo personality to help other people become Leos, Leo-like and proud, not Leo, proud and confident. And not afraid, because the 12th house is about fears and egos. But also, your moon sign is also Leo. So that means even your emotional side. However you manifest your emotional Leo side. But you're going to help people with that. And they'll resonate with you more. So that's kind of like something you're supposed to definitely be working on in this life. And if you do that, you will have accomplished your 12th house, which is now your 11th house, 12th house, Cancer, but also this house, Leo, but also your first house, Leo. And then you'll be in tune in that area of your chart. All right. So that's healing. So that's because you asked about healing. So healing is right there. You'll be healing yourself by helping to heal other people. Oh, and Juno retrograde. Juno just tends to hold things in. But she could blow up, especially in Pisces. it's certain houses that she could really blow up, like just, you know, set it off, you know, like a trigger. Something just triggers her and she's all upset. She's like that on Pisces, Scorpio, and probably some other signs. But again, so you got, if you're being honest with yourself, or if you're getting in the habit of taking notes, if you start to feel yourself feel slighted or jealous or any of those third dimensional feelings, you could deal with it. You could do something about it. Whatever you choose to do. Like I tell people, the 12th house is about buildings and it is about counseling and stuff like that. So you may get counseling, however you deal with it, because it is about confinement. Sometimes you need isolation to get your stuff together. It's buildings, hospitals. It could be like a psychologist's office. It could be a mental ward. It could be a hospital. And in some cases, if a person doesn't get a grip on it, it will be incarceration or a courthouse. And it's churches, it's buildings. This is all the 12th house. But that's by a person being honest with themselves. And that's why I say, because I had already grown a lot. So by the time that my twin came, my twin was trying to pull me back to the boondocks where most of these people are right now. That's like the jungle to me. Like it's no loyalty, no values, all kind of just crazy. How you could look at somebody and tell them I love you and then cheat on them, and look at them again and tell them you love them. Like it's crazy. Like we've gotten to a very crazy place on our planet, and they think it's cool. Like they think it's okay. It's nothing wrong with it, and God's gonna forgive you, and you're gonna go to heaven. Like they don't realize you're gonna pay for that. You just can't do that. So when you use your natal chart, you're seeing it right here. The 12th house is the house the house of reckoning, the house of confinement, the house of dealing with the dark side and the subconscious. And if you want healing, that's where you're gonna start. That's why they started it there. You know, whatever I did, because I know you wrote I started it somewhere. No, I'm only doing what the universe says. Like whatever you hear me talking and stuff, I'm usually probably just saying already what the universe said. Just like that terrible shooting that took place. I didn't know what was going on, but I did what the universe said, and I actually prophesied that before it happened, because I had no idea what was going on. But then later on, when I look back, I only did what I was told. So that's the 12th house as well. That's spirituality, and that's a connection to the divine. And in your Bible, they call Jesus the Pisces, the fish. I'll make you a fisher of men and stuff like that. That's the 12th house, is Pisces. And again, it's not difficult. It's difficult because your flesh doesn't want to do it. Your flesh wants to just go, oh, he's wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Blah, blah, blah. But when you start working with people and then you start liking it, like you really start looking forward to helping people or working with people, and then it won't be such a big deal. And you have to believe that you give and you receive. So if I got a loving personality and I'm helping people and people see it, it has to come back. And that's why no matter what happens, I always remember that. Because sometimes it's easy. Like I always say negative energy, but negative energy wants you to believe that, oh, you know, this doesn't matter, and why would I be a giving person if I'm not going to get anything back and everything like that. But you got to really stay positive in your thinking process. So like if you take an Archangel card reading, that's what they tell you to do. Now, I want to look at something. Give me one moment. Because what I want to look at, I'm going to pull it up. Just give me a second. Okay. So when you were saying you wanted to get guidance on the parts of you that still need to heal. Now, the best way in that particular case is to go, because I listed everything you said, and that's what we're going to do. But I put it like I want 1, 2, 3, what we're going to talk about. Now, the best thing to do is to give you, like if you want to know about Saturn retrograde, then you should first go to the experts, which we kind of did before, but I'm going to do it again, just a little different way. But that's really what you want to do first. You want to go to what the experts say, and that's what I'm doing. That's why you hear me going to these websites as well, because they're giving you advice on the retrograde in the house based on a lot of experience. So that's where you want to go. All right. All right. So I'm just looking at this. So we'll look at your retrograde. See, because I noticed, I think you probably meant, you may have, I don't know, you may have meant Pluto. Because you said Saturn retrograde, but Saturn is on, it's not really, on your chart, Saturn is not retrograde, and it's over on the other side. All right, let me just see. And I'm gonna go back. I'm just looking. I'm overlooking you. Looking at your reading again. Yep. You say Uranus in your third house, which that's what I said. Yep. All right. So yeah, that's the best thing to do. First is get the experts. Because if you don't do it this way, it gets complicated. Because if I give you an angel reading, if I go, oh, why is her so and so retrograde and black? They may give you 3 or 4 cards, and each of those cards are going to give you like a sign, and that sign is going to go to a house. You understand? It just gets real complicated. If you think me talking, is complicated, you're really going to get it, because you're going to be getting 4 or more. Depends, and they may give you 6 cards. It depends. It gets really complicated. You want to go to the experts first. You want to learn what the house means, why they're telling you that, and you gotta be taking notes. Like I said, you really have to take this stuff seriously. And I'm sorry that people have taken something as beautiful as astrology and turned it into, oh, where's my love? Why can't I find love? Oh, another twin flame video. Oh, and I'll run and listen to that one. And they're like obsessed. That's like idolatry. It's like, how many twin flame videos can you listen to before you get your shit together? Like, take some notes, set some goals. Stop running to a twin flame video every time it comes out. It's like, that's what you guys do out here on YouTube. It's kind of pathetic, yo. For real. Like, I'm a twin flamer too, but I'm cooler with mine. Like, she calls when she wants to. I can already tell you. I could have told you what she was going to do in 2014. She's going to call, and if I pick up, she's going to hang up. Like, this is what she does. Like, she used to just look at me, just stare at me, and not talking shit. Like, she's creepy. Like, she's a creepy ass person, but she's funny at the same time. You know, it's not that serious no more. Now, when it first happened, I didn't know what the hell was going on, but now I'm used to it. You know, and at some point in time, believe it or not, we'll get past this shit at some point. But what's most important is I got to be working on me. I'm the one that's going to stand before God. You know what I'm saying? Worrying about her could be detrimental to me. And that's that they're in idolatry, that they won't listen to common sense. They're mad, and they're trying their best to do it their way. They don't want to do it the universe's way. And that's why they take the easy way out. They think going to a psychic. A psychic can help you a little bit if they're a good psychic, but they can't tell you everything on your natal chart. Your natal chart is the Bible, your Bible, from God or the universe to you. So that's what you want to learn. That's where you want to set your goals. And as you start to work more in harmony with your natal chart, you're going to notice that you're starting to hear more about your twin. It's a universal law. Just like give and receive is a universal law. If you sit back and you never want to give and never want to give, the universe is not going to give you back a lot. And let's say you get back and you say, Gary, you were wrong. I got a whole lot back and I never gave. But you know what? I think you could have got a whole lot more if you did give. You're not going to beat the universe. These are universal laws, just like math, just like science. Everything has a universal law put in place. So far we did 11th house to 12th house. Now, the first house. Now we're in the second house, which is pretty much about money, possessions, in your value system, and it's Virgo. So Virgo, as we know, very critical analysis. They're very good to find an analysis, but they can be perfectionists. So in the real world, you can't be a perfectionist. And Virgos like to criticize, but they don't like to take criticism. So you don't want to be critical. So what happens, and this is the money house, you're going to have something can be taken away from you with Pluto retrograde. So the purpose of that Pluto retrograde is to take something away from you, but it's helping you in your learning process in this life. So whatever it has to do with a Virgo, whatever it has to do with, and remember Virgo rules the 6th house of home service, daily activities, which could include a job, young ones, young animals, small children, co-workers, subordinates. But so this will be something around that area and financial in the 2nd house. So we're going to try to find a Pluto retrograde in the 2nd house. Now, this place calls itself ILLUME, astrology.blogspot.com. But again, I want to see if it's really information. Yeah, these guys are pretty good. I used to use them a long time ago. Now, this is from April 11, 2012. Pluto is power, destruction, sex, ambition, drive, death, and rebirth. The god of the non-superficial will strip you down to bare bones to find out who you really are behind the facade. And it's funny they say behind the facade because that would be the 1st house. Because your 1st house is the mass, it's the facade, it's how people see you. The strength that comes from a Pluto transit is like no other. The god of the underworld is really the god of the takeaway. Break down and rebuild a more authentic you. So let's do it. Let's do your 1st house and the 2nd house. But we're going to do 2nd house first. She said, this guy's confusing me. Hey, I didn't make the chart. I'm only reading it. So if Pluto is transiting, if Pluto retrograde, because even though he's saying Pluto, it definitely is Pluto retrograde because that's the title. Sometimes he'll say Pluto transiting. Sometimes he'll just go Pluto retrograde transiting. But it is. That's why you got to take notes. See, I'm good with stuff like this. I'm used to taking notes and stuff. But you don't, like, if you're the type of person and you get intimidated easily, you have to stop that because it's not, none of this. God did all of this to help you. See, God wants you to be happy. It may be with your twin, but it might not be. It might be with somebody else, but you have to learn. Like, that's why you got that lion. You have to learn to be bold. You have to be strong in challenges, and then you'll help other people be strong too. And like I said, I try to teach females, but females, this matrix has trained people to think a certain way, but it's not to you. The best, if you really want to be, if you want a serious relationship with a guy, the best thing you can do is just be honest with him. And he'll respect that at some point, even if he doesn't understand it at first because he's not used to a female doing that. But when you just be honest with a guy, it will come a time he'll appreciate you. And one of my best conversations I ever had with a person out here was this female. She had met this guy, was a twin, and they felt it. They knew they were special, but he didn't want it because he didn't believe it. And then she didn't want it because she thought he was playing games on her. So she was going to cut him off, but she decided to try to find something out. And when I first came out here, if you think I was bad now, I was really just totally honest. And I had a lot of pain too because I was going through the twin flame thing. So I had a lot of pain. But I told her exactly what it really is. And I told her why guys are the way they are. And I went and said how a lot of women have hurt men. We never talk about that crap. I mean, you might have heard about it in some love songs or something. But we never talk about that. We're male men and dogs. And I'm like, all men can't be dogs. Because why would men try to get married if you're a dog? Because you got way more to lose than she does, as far as financially. And that the house, everything. You understand? So we have to be honest, and people don't want me to be honest, but I'm not going to stop. And then why would he get married? If he's a dog, he would just, you're probably giving it up. So that's what guys really love to have, is that sex. So if he's already getting that from you, why would he even talk about move in with me, or I'll move in with you, or let's get property, or let's get married? Knowing that that's probably not going to work. So he has a whole lot more to lose in these areas. She's got a lot to lose too, but way more than him. And a lot of times it's not the guy that wants to divorce, because he's got more to lose, I'm trying to tell you. Because the system is set up to take care of the woman. It's just the way it is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's the way it is. And if you go into that situation, you got more to lose as a man. So I told her all of that. And then when I got done, I didn't know how she was going to respond. But she actually thanked me. She was glad I told her the truth. And then she said she was going to make it her goal to let him know that she's not playing. Like, whatever I do, I'm going to let him know that I'm serious about this. Like, I think this is special. And I would like to try to work it out with you. And she wasn't just going to tap out, because a lot of females just give up easy. That always bugged me. How could you say love if you give up so quick? Like, he's supposed to chase you all the time. Do you ever chase him? How's he supposed to believe it's real if you don't chase him sometime? So I see all this crappy stuff on this planet, but I'm not supposed to talk about it. I'm just supposed to play this game and just make a lot of money playing people out for suckers, because that's what they are. Because if you're giving somebody a lot of cash and you're still not with your twin, and you're still not benefiting from the information you're giving you, that's called being a sucker. Like back in the days, in those movies, a guy would, in the Wild Wild West, a guy will pull up and say, "Miracle water! I've got miracle water," or something. And somebody, he'd be trying to sell the water, and first nobody would buy it. And then somebody would come up and say, "Oh, I'm sick. Oh, give me some of that water." And they would drink the water and go, "I'm healed," and start running around. And everybody would start buying the water and buying the water. And he'd be filthy rich. And he'd get in his little van, his little whatever, wagon or whatever, and drive off and shit. And when he gets to the isolated part where nobody can see, that same person that was supposed to be sick, the guy healed, jumps out the back, and they're shaking each other's hand and hugging each other, counting up the money. So that's some sucker stuff. So you see a lot of that out here, because you're running all these videos, you're giving all your resources up, but you still ain't with your twin, and ain't nothing changing, and you're not working on yourself. And to me, that's one of the main things you got to do if you want your twin. You got to work on yourself, because your twin, especially if you guys are in separation. But not every twin is in separation. Some of them do talk, but they may not be together, or they're together, they make up, break up, or whatever. But a lot of twins are in separation. So your twin is not coming nowhere near you until you work on what you need to be working on. It's on your natal chart. And if all you're doing is going to a psychic, how are they going to know that? I mean, really, let's just be honest. Let's stop the creepy stuff. How are they really going to know what you need to work on to get you? They're going to know everything. Even if they figure out 1 or 2 areas, let's say you need 6 or 7, they're going to figure out all 7 things. That's why you have a hard copy natal chart. It shows you, and you can't get past it. So again, if Pluto is retrograde in your 2nd house, you will be visiting the areas of value, money, and possessions. Pluto retrograde in the 2nd house will cause you to reevaluate what you want or what you think you need. Pluto's retrograde in the 2nd house will cause a burning desire to be independent financially if you aren't already. So they say Pluto retrograde will see if you have been living within your means or not. And they said it's going to be an initial breakdown phase. And that's usually when he takes everything away from you suddenly, which is where most people lose things. This is to base your confidence not on what you have. And he begins to push you to find new ways of making money, and may even return some of the things you lost or replace them with something new. You will reevaluate what really matters to you. Were you too attached to your material things? Pluto always rebuilds what he breaks down, so don't sweat it. It's for your best. Then that would be, because I'm saying that's your 2nd house. All right? But let's just say, now let's do Pluto retrograde in your 1st house. It's regaining your power, assertiveness, and speaking up for yourself. That's the theme if Pluto retrograde is in your 1st house. No more nonsense. See, I say that all the time. No silliness, no foolishness. See, they say the same things I do, but I get in trouble because I actually say it. And I don't talk to you like you're a 3-year-old. Oh, we just want to make sense all the time. Instead of saying, don't be stupid. Wise up. Don't be stupid. Oh, you can't say that. Oh, I don't like his tone. Okay. Now, when Pluto goes retrograde in your first house, which yours is, you will re-evaluate who you really are. You may have difficulty with others pushing their opinions on you. You yourself may become more aggressive and manipulative during this time. What is your image that you are projecting? Is it really you? Have you been neglecting your health? Why are they talking about health? Yeah, that is crazy. Because I didn't say nothing about Virgo. Why would they say if Pluto is retrograde in your first house? And he's talking about health. Have you been neglecting your health? Are you true to yourself? You will have learned this by the time Pluto goes direct and you have a new approach to the things you want in your life. Right now, Pluto is in Scorpio, so a lot of things are being revealed. A lot of deep things are being revealed. So right now, wherever your Scorpio is, and a lot of things that are hidden within your subconscious or in your 8th house, it's being revealed right now. And that's why I'm saying, even right now, I'm saying that's your 2nd house. So it might be some money concerns there as well. But what I'm doing is just making sure I cover all areas. All right. So if you want to go your first house, it's telling you to be spiritual because of Vesta. She's spiritual. And Vesta works with Virgo, so it's family minded. And Leo is, love and happiness and fun and childlike behavior and taking risks. And then the moon in Leo makes it more emotional and deeper, more feminine, because the sun is more masculine. So if that's your first house, that's what you would see. Now, if that's your 2nd house, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to help people. But you just have to be careful of Lilith retrograde, because Lilith retrograde will catch feelings, and you won't even know why she's mad. She'll feel like you're overlooking her. She'll feel like maybe she'll get jealous and stuff, and she'll plan to get you. She'll plan to get you back, and you'll never know what's coming until she strikes. So you got to be careful of that, because that's going against everything you're trying to do in that house. You're trying to actually be a very happy, sunny, loving person for yourself or for other people. Now, if Pluto retrograde is in your first house, and you got to really work on, make sure you're keeping yourself healthy, you're really taking care of yourself, and you really are the person that you claim to be. Because if you're phony, he's going to try to expose you. Like when I got fired, and this was because of my twin, it was a Pluto retrograde. But at that point, I had been pretty quiet at that job. So nobody really knew. Not that I was a bad person, but I was just dealing with a lot of stuff. But I was just really quiet. But when that came out, then I became a different person. Everybody started looking at me way different because of that. But that's the universe. It's gonna bring that stuff out. A lot of times you may think, well, I'm not bothering nobody. But the universe is still gonna bring it out. So if you feel a certain way, the universe is gonna bring it out. Now, 1, 2, 3. So now I'm saying the 3rd house, where you have 2 retrogrades, is all about relationships, partnerships. 3rd house is all about Gemini. It's ruled by Gemini. Communication, travel, short travel, siblings, the community, the brotherhood, your surroundings, creativity, if I didn't say that. All right. So let's do Uranus. Uranus retrograde in the 3rd house. So they all want to go. They all want to go. So let me just do something. All right, because you said So you asked about a square. So let's do that. Let's get you the interpretation of a square as well. All right, so let's do this. So when you see a square and somebody said they're 90 degrees apart, but it says the square, this aspect creates tension between the planets and points involved. Tension is necessary in order to stimulate action, but too much tension translates to stress. The planets involved in the square are acting at cross purposes. With squares, we may overdo and run into constant obstacles before we get it right. However, squares force us out of complacency and get the ball rolling. Squares are more often difficult when we are young, as these aspects force us to grow and learn our lesson. But now, well, first we got to make sure, because they said it's something about 90 degrees, so you want to make sure. But you got to understand also that, see, your third house ruled by Gemini is the immature house. And see, they were talking about immaturity and stuff. Because that's where your Uranus was, and you did mention the square in connection with Uranus. But that's what I'm saying. That's why that immaturity would really make that the third house, Gemini. Even if you have if you have Gemini in your 10th house, that's a person who can't stay at a job very long, because your 10th house is your career and reputation. Or they go from job to job, and maybe they have 2 or 3 different jobs or something like that. Because Gemini always represents like short-term stuff, short distance, short-term. Twin flames are in a short relationship. They break up and go into separation. So this says completehoroscope.org. Menu, horoscope, sex horoscope, astrology. Let's just see what this guy's talking about. Health and predictions. So if anybody wants to learn a little bit about horoscopes, you can go to completehoroscope.org, because he actually has a natal chart and he's explaining everything to you. That's completehoroscope.org. This guy's talking about a little bit of everybody. Donald Trump's eclipse. Donald Trump's will he resign? Hillary Clinton, Michael Pence, Barack Obama, Michael Jackson, Sarah. I wonder if this guy's on YouTube. Future of the internet, the age of Aquarius. He's got all his zodiac signs. I like this guy, whoever it is. I just get a strong feeling this is a guy, but he's pretty cool. He's like the little nerd that would sit in class and be studying and drawing all this shit. And you're like, what the fuck is that little nerd doing? But you don't realize like he's like a genius and shit. He's got books out there too on tarot, astrology. This dude doesn't stop. His name is Stefan Stenud. Stefan Stenudd. I'm a Swedish astrologer, author, historian of ideas, researcher, ancient thought and mythology. My personal website. This guy's fascinating. I've only seen him for a few minutes and he's shocking. All right. Aspects. Conjunction, opposition, trine, square, 90 degrees. Sextile. Conjunction, fusion, opposition 100. Conjunction is 0 degrees, fusion. Opposition 180 degrees, separation. Trine 120 degrees, harmony. Square 90 degrees, conflict. And sextile 60 degrees, cooperation. And this guy's like a freaking genius. Alright, so it says Leo in horoscope. Your Leo zodiac sign. The father of Leo. Guess you're talking about the sun. The planets in Leo. Leo in general, zodiac signs. All right. So again, it would be 90 degrees. So yeah, it does it. Opposition. I'm looking right at it. Conflicting inner forces in classical astrology. Square is the aspect special angle where planets or other horoscope points are about 90 degrees apart from the zodiac circle. So what I'm thinking you meant, because you put Saturn, but Saturn is way on the other side and it's not retrograde. So I think you meant Pluto. Because you really don't have it. You have the moon in your 12th house, but you don't have anything else. So that's definitely not that. And then you said square. You said squaring your Uranus, but I think you're talking about Pluto is retrograde. But that would be more like a conjunction, but it's really in a different house, so it wouldn't be as, if it was on a border it would, but it wouldn't really be that significant because it's in a different house. I'm sure it affects it, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't be that important because it's in a different house. If they were both in the same house, or if Pluto was closer to that house, it would be more significant. All right, so we were trying to find Uranus retrograde in the second house, which they did not really give it. Let me do it again. Uranus retrograde in the third house, which they did not give it to us. So I'll tell you what I know. Uranus retrograde, it changes things like suddenly. Now, what does that mean? If a person is somewhat quiet, all of a sudden they'll just become rowdy. They'll like be totally different than what they were. If a person is rowdy all the time, all of a sudden they'll become suddenly quiet. They're saying in past life, but the problem with this person is like they're somewhat of a rebel, but they're either hot or cold. Like they don't believe in compromise. So the lesson they have to learn in this life is compromise. Because look, this is the twin house. It's ruled by Gemini, the twins, and then you got Libra there. So you got Libra there. So what you would have to learn how to do is learn, and again, it's going back to your 12th house or first house, whatever one you want to call it, but working with people. Because it just seems like possibly in the past life you didn't do that too much. Like you were kind of like a me first type of person. And see, your me first is I am is Aries. And you see in where's Aries at now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because Aries is usually the first house, I am. Libra is the 7th house, which is like a couple, partnership. So in other words, Uranus retrograde is trying to help you to learn the art of compromise so that you can. Remember I told you Gemini, the 3rd house, is always breaking up relationships because it's immature. It ain't ready. It's just immature. And when you got Uranus changing all the time, it could help you, but it could also hurt you. And it's trying to teach you how to compromise so that you learn how to work with people and that compromise is necessary. It doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't have to be extreme hot or cold. Sometimes you could just learn how to just get along. And then when you have Jupiter retrograde, this especially deals with helping you with your intuition, but also helps you with holistic healing. And maybe that's why it's so close to Scorpio. But it helps you see, whereas before you were saying, oh, this is irrelevant, I don't need this, I don't want nothing to do with that. But Jupiter retrograde helps you say, hey, I see a common ground. Hey, this could benefit me too. And that works well with Libra because Libra is all about relationship. So at the end of the day, Uranus retrograde and Jupiter retrograde is helping you, the immature Gemini energy, become more mature so that you can be in a Libra relationship. So your 3rd house is really helping you with your 7th house. And that's why you have Aquarius in your 7th house, because Aquarius is a lot like Gemini. They both like their independence, and they don't like to go too deep. And they're both like, Gemini is about brotherhood, Aquarius is about community. So they're a lot alike, but they like their independence. And even if they're in a relationship, they don't want it to be all serious. So that's why I'm pretty sure I got the count right, because it's making sense. Now, again, to better understand your 4th house with Scorpio, you can just go right back to the original video because I definitely explained that. I'm always very thorough with Scorpio because Scorpio really can mess things up. If you don't understand Scorpio, it can mess you up. See, there's a time and place for everything. But let me just tell you about Scorpio. Like some people say, well, I have a powerful Scorpio on my natal chart, so I'm very sexual and I'm very open about it with my partner or partners and blah blah blah. And that's all well and good, but or Scorpio can also get you a sexual disease. Scorpio can also have you dying of a sexual disease. So you have to be careful. Just because Scorpio is on your chart doesn't mean you just become carefree. You still have to use common sense. And whenever you see Scorpio in the family sector like yours is, it's probably been some type of struggles and all kind of stuff, which I did explain on the last video. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, to really understand it, you take notes. And then you understand why these retrogrades are in these houses and why these houses are the way they are. And then you know what to work on. And as you begin to work on it and begin to see improvement in your life, you'll also see more stuff. Like you'll hear more from your twin flame, or the universe will start to show you more because now you can handle it. Whereas if you just walk in the door and you don't really understand this stuff, then you don't really understand it. And then you're saying, well, does he even have the count right? Like you're looking at me like, it made me laugh. Like people just like, don't look at other people. Like I look at myself. Like whatever I do, at the end of the day, I'm going to be responsible for my life. You know, and for people that don't realize that, I feel sorry for them because at the end, you're not going to be able to point to nobody else. Most people at the end, you're going to have to give an account for whatever you believed or whatever you did. You're not going to be able to blame other people. Some people will, if they weren't given a fair shot, like victims and stuff. Some people have been victimized. They don't have, they have a right to tell God, I never was given a fair shot. But a lot of people just they didn't care. They just wanted what they wanted, and they could care less about the Bible. They could care. Even people walking around with the Bible, they really don't care. That's like just to make them feel good. But they're not really trying to bring their life in harmony with it. A lot of people don't even believe it. So you will stand before that at the end. And that will have a lot to do with the next life you go into, or the next reality you go into is going to be based on what you did in this reality. Everybody knows that. Hindus know it. People in India know it. Everybody telling you about reincarnation and karma know it. And Christians telling you about Judgment Day. So everybody knows you're going somewhere where you're going to be asked about this life. So now, this is where it gets really strange. You see your Neptune at 29 degrees and 44. It's retrograde. And it goes all the way up to, it's pointing right to your medium coeli, which is at 22. And then your sun sign, your sun is at 22 degrees as well. And remember, the sun's ruling Leo. The sun rules Leo. So remember, your Neptune is pretty much on the border. But just letting you know, whenever you see Neptune retrograde, that is going to be escapism. This person is an escapism. And especially Neptune with Mercury, their alcoholism, drugs, maybe dysfunctional, maybe a dysfunctional family, but definitely dysfunctional. Alcoholism, drugs, addictions, a whole lot of stuff goes on with Neptune retrograde in Scorpio. And I read that whole long list. And that's in the family too, because that's in your 4th house and your 5th house. It's on the border. So again, this is dysfunctional things. And again, that's why I said sometimes it may be counseling. Now remember, Neptune rules Pisces. Now Pisces is that 12th house that became your first house. And I went over all that. See, because you see it's dealing with your Leo energy. Because look where it's pointing. Just look where Neptune's pointing. It takes you right to your medium coeli and your sun. Because they're both at 22 degrees. So they're in the same spot. You just get to see it as two different. You see medium coeli and the sun. But it's actually the same spot, 22 degrees. And your Neptune is pointing right at it. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It almost is like, and you got Taurus there. So it's almost like you were somewhat of just a proud Leo, but also a stubborn Leo. Because Leo and Taurus, that you're not gonna get over on that person. That person's not taking no shorts. But unfortunately, in this life, they're telling you have to. You have to become more of a community person, third house. Working with people like a spiritual people or encouraging people, 12th house. Or brotherhood, third house. Community, sixth house. Working with partnerships with people, Libra. You see? So that's your healing. Your healing is realizing, and don't get me wrong, because I already said, some healing you need, because we don't know what people have been through. Sometimes you may need Alcoholic Anonymous. You may need professionals. And just make sure they're really honorable people, because now some of those people are more messed up than you are. And some of these, it's sad, but some of these people go to these people for help, and they victimize them. So you have to really be careful. But that's why I said when you have the spiritual element, this is what people don't want to hear. When you have the spiritual element, when you have prayer and things like that, then you have help as well. See, that's why I keep talking about negative energy. It doesn't want you to believe in prayer. It doesn't want you to believe in spirituality. It doesn't want you to believe that God cares about you. So all of this gets wiped away. So then all you have is people out here talking about, where's my twin? And one about my twin. And since my twins not want me, I'm going to sleep with my soulmate. And I'm still going to sleep with this person for that reason. Because they all want to feel loved. So now you got sex all over the place and babies getting dropped and we don't know who the baby's daddy is and all kind of stuff. But this is because they won't anchor. They won't anchor on spirituality. They won't anchor on God. And that's the facts. And then because I talk about stuff like that, they don't want to listen to me. Oh, I don't like I knew for a fact you got nothing against me because you actually should be saying thank you that I care. But so they don't really have a problem with me, but they'll find any little excuse. Oh, he said this. Oh, he said so that excuses them. Because I cracked a joke or something. So that excuses them from their obligation. Because they really don't care. And that's the bottom line. And unfortunately, this is why the universe starts to make them care. Because the universe starts to bring those retrogrades. Or the universe starts to do stuff to them and their lifestyle and people around them to make them care. Or they just get karma. But you're not going to play with the universe and get away with it. And if anybody ever knew that, like let's be honest. Look at all the sexy women before the sexy women we have now. Look at what happened to Marilyn Monroe. Look at a lot of these sexy ladies. Not saying sexy is necessarily wrong, but what happened to the people before the people that are doing this now? So like you say, oh, I'm going to be a rock and roller. Well, what happened to the rock and rollers before you? Whether it's overdose, drugs, all kind of crazy stuff, getting rushed to the hospital, getting your stomach pumped out and all kind of crazy stuff. But we don't look at that for some reason. We never look at what happened to these people. We just want to imitate them anyway. So these are people that are under some type of deceptive influence, and again, that's when Neptune can deceive you with escapism. Oh, I gotta get away. Oh, I just need a few pills to make me feel better. Oh, I don't want to think about that. I just need to make love. I just need to have some sex. I just need to feel somebody wants me. But you're running and you keep running, and that's what all these people are doing out here. Every new video that comes out that says twin flame, everybody's running to it. Just like when they say, "Oh, it's a sale at the mall." As soon as the doors open, the people go freaking crazy. But what are you really learning from all that? Nothing. You go, you listen, you probably leave a bunch of comments, talk to some other people. But did that really help you get with your twin? Because if it doesn't help you get with your twin, you're wasting your time. What is it really doing? Other than, oh, your favorite TV show just came on television, and now you're going to sit there for an hour or so and watch it, and then talk about it to your friend or something. But what did it really do for you? Just a diversion. You're still not dealing. It's escapism. You're still not dealing with the facts. So that's why your Neptune retrograde goes right up to that medium Coeli, which is also your part of your true life purpose, your North Node, your purpose. And notice how your true North Node takes you right back to Pisces, or the 12th house, which became the first house. And your 5th house is ruled by Leo. So that's why you can see you have kind of like a Leo, Pisces, Taurus connection in this lifetime. A Leo, Pisces, Neptune connection. Let me do that again. A Leo Pisces Taurus connection. Leo Pisces Taurus connection. So then you have to work on not escapism, holding yourself responsible, not running away from your responsibility, because that's where Saturn is, right there. So we already covered your Juno, because that you're gonna find yourself in a relationship with somebody who's either Sagittarius or Aries energy, and your soulmate or a significant event in your life is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me do this again. Give me one moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So your true north. So yeah, Juno. I was right, Juno. Now your true north node life purpose. I don't want to do that yet. Okay, so now your vertex with that Capricorn. So you're gonna find yourself either in a soulmate relationship, your twin soul relationship, or a significant event with Capricorn energy and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or Virgo energy. Capricorn energy or Virgo energy. And again, you would need like if your soulmate was, if we had their chart, or your twin soul, that would give you a little bit more information. So your true north node or your life purpose, like I said, is spiritual. It's Pisces, but Pisces in what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pisces and Scorpio, because you're a highly psychic person. Pisces and Scorpio. But see, that takes you back to your 4th house too, which is Cancer. And that's why with this chart, they're saying Cancer is your 11th house, but because of what they did, they kind of made your 11th house your 12th house. And why? Because I keep telling you, you have different lives concurrently, and you got to work on all of it. And why did you have to work on all of it? Because you got like Leo Taurus energy. So you got this bold bull lion that thinks they know everything. And then you got the bull that ain't taking no he's not going to back down. The bull is stubborn. So that means your ego in all these times, you kept fighting it. Like a lot of these people are doing right now. So now they're trying to get you to see how you have to work on it. And you can only work on it by holding yourself accountable, taking notes. And if you do need help for overcoming any type of Neptune retrograde, Scorpio obsessions or addictions and things, then you can get the help as well. And that's why, again, Pisces will take you to the 12th house, which deals with buildings and getting help. And your true north node and your Chiron are both at 8 degrees. And the 8th degree is like the 8th house, which is also about the soul and about healing and things like that. Even when they show you your Neptune, which your Neptune is really close with your Scorpio, that's at 44, and that's still going to be 4 plus 4 is 8. So again, your 10th house is your medium coeli, but it's also kind of working with your life purpose. But you're going to have a communication problem because of Mercury. So whenever you see Mercury, again, they're saying in a past life, you may have said something and it caused people harm, so you had to pay for it. And now in this life, you may have a communication problem. You may try public speaking, and it may not work for you. So now you don't want to speak in public, or you don't want to speak. But now they're telling you would have to get help to help you to be able to speak out in public, because you might even be misunderstood. You might actually say some really nice things, but people may misunderstand you. So that's the whole Mercury retrograde. But again, you could get help on that as well. So that would be the biggest warning in your 10th house, is to watch how you speak, because the bull may be too bully. You might be like a bully, or you might just be forceful, and people misunderstand you. They may accuse you of being a bully, but that's just because you got a lot of Taurus energy in your 10th house, and this is the house of career and reputation. But medium Coeli is also like your life purpose. It's actually working with your 8th house. Because like I said, you got like two lifestyles going on. You're almost like in two dimensions. It's almost like really two different personalities. So you can use your Saturn energy in your 10th house to help you help your communication skills. The do's and the don'ts. Just don't ever say these words or whatever. Or because Saturn is there to regulate. But the bull can be a bully. But the bull is usually concentrating on money, possessions, and he has a value system. But you just have to be careful what you say because of the Mercury retrograde. And I really believe that's why Saturn is there, because it's going to try to help you not to say something that can mess up your reputation or your career. And also Saturn is going to help you because because Leo is in your 10th house because of the sun, because the sun rules Leo. Now when you look at Sagittarius in the 5th house and your 4th house, they're all connected to your 10th house through Neptune retrograde. And Neptune retrograde is all about escapism, like not want to take responsibility, trying to get away with stuff, staying drunk, staying high to get away. So Saturn is going to help you be more responsible, and that's karma. It's gonna make you be responsible for your actions. So again, you have to be careful, because Sagittarius can mean law. The 9th house Sagittarius can mean law. So that would be some type of lockup. And see, your Sagittarius is in your fun house, the 5th house ruled by Leo. So you have to be careful, because that can mean law. And also like Neptune, Leo, Sagittarius, they have to do with telepathy, astral planning, anything like like really travel, telekinesis, all that's possible, because you got that Scorpio energy too. So you're very psychic. So really, if you it's just the theme seems to be discipline, just getting the discipline you need. I would honestly tell you that your 12th house is about discipline. You got to learn how to just be unselfish, because that can help you too, to a certain degree, because you start to worry about other people, not just yourself. And then Pluto retrograde is definitely about discipline. Jupiter retrograde is about discipline, but it's more like reflection, where you can see the benefit in compromising, and you can see the benefit in working with people, whereas before you wouldn't have been able to see it. And then Neptune retrograde is about discipline, because it's saying, hey, you can't continue. But that's why you got Saturn's help, because Neptune retrograde is about being an escapist and running away, and staying high and staying drunk and blaming other people. That's Neptune retrograde. But it taps right in the Saturn, which is telling you, I'm not going to let you be bullheaded. I'm not going to let you be stubborn. I'm gonna step in. And then Saturn is telling Mercury retrograde, watch what you say because your words are being misunderstood. And then your true north node in your 8th house, which deals with Scorpio, actually takes you back to your 4th house with Scorpio. So that's a family thing as well. But it's also going to take you to your 12th house because Pisces rules your 12th house. And there goes Leo again. And Pisces is saying, listen, you got to use that Leo energy to benefit yourself. Help other people. Not just benefit yourself, but help other people as well. And then Pallas Pallas helps you see patterns. But Pallas also can be a social sign. I think I told you that before. Usually when Pallas is retrograde, it's definitely a social sign for the less fortunate. But I'm sure even direct it could help you with social issues as well, especially with displacement. So that is the healing. Holding yourself accountable, learning how to really help other people as well. Learn how to feel good helping other people shine. And if you need help, then seek out the help. Because whatever you need, just ask God, ask the universe, and be persistent with it. But that's healing. See, a lot of people it's human nature to say my family was dysfunctional. So it would be easy for me to say, hey, listen, this happened to me, or wow, and in my mind, I'm thinking, well, feel sorry for me or help me. But you still got to hold yourself accountable. So you got to also like that's why they make the person stand up. Hi, my name is Dave and I'm an alcoholic. Why? Because Dave ain't going to get no help until he admits it. If he's still blaming his mother, blaming his father, blaming the neighbors because they always had the window down and were yelling and I could hear everything and it distracted me. You can have an excuse for everything in the world, which these things are sad. Nobody's minimizing. It's a very horrible planet sometimes. But you want to hold yourself accountable. And then again, hello, my name is Dave and I'm an alcoholic. Okay, Dave, what are you going to do about it? Well, I've been coming to these classes and they tell you, it's been 3 weeks since I had my last drink. You understand? But at the whole time, Dave is holding himself accountable. And then some people need somebody to help them, call and check on them. If you want to do that. Like maybe you eat too much. Like somebody might eat too much. So somebody might call you and say, hey, what are you eating? Don't eat that. Or they might literally come over your house and check things out. Some people have stuff like support groups or whatever. But that's the healing. Now, the joy is once you start letting people into your life, it is a joy to know you help somebody, especially if they're appreciative. It means a lot when somebody cares. And now the whole love thing, but see, you just have to learn certain things. This is what I'm trying to tell everybody. Once you start to grow, see, you live on I can only speak from a USA East Coast, but it's a lot of Murphy's Law out here. Because the more you start to improve your life, the more attraction comes to things that try to pull you back into some foolishness. You have to be careful. And the more you improve your life, it'll be somebody saying, oh, you think you're better than everybody. Blah, 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 blah. So it's a lot of garbage out here. So you have to learn. That's why they say the Leo and the bull and all that. Because you have to know you're on the right course and stay on it. Now, once you get on that right course and you start meeting guys, hopefully you'll be a little bit mature. Anybody would. And when you're a little bit mature, you're not just going to fall for just any guy. Like I've seen females that went to college and they totally changed their personality. Why? Because before college, it was just cool to be sexy and be kind of dumbed down and be a bimbo. That was a cool thing to do for a female. But then when they went to college, they started using their head and started thinking. And now they start saying, wow, the world is mine. And now the type of guy they talk to and stuff's a little bit differently. Because they realize, well, I'm smart. And I got something. I don't want to blow that on no guy that's just gonna pull me down. So now they may start talking to different people and stuff. Because it doesn't make any sense if you're going to listen to astrology and get the healing you want or the maturity you want, and then still do immature stuff and still associate with people that don't care about astrology, don't care about their chart, and they ain't trying to work on nothing. Where's the party at? How we get high? I'm going to give me some sex tonight. And that's usually the environment around here. But with astrology, it's different than that because it's supposed to have a purpose. Because what God does, it has a purpose. Your astrology chart has a purpose. It's not just a love story. That's why it's so sad that people only use it for a love story, a career, or money. But it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing about your whole life. So as you start to improve and you start to relate to other people, that's how you can find love. Because I really believe the twin flame thing is just a wake-up call for most people. It pushes you. I know it pushed me to metaphysics. Higher. I knew metaphysics, but not like I do now. And with me, I've always had spirituality. So I know how to blend it. I blend it too. Because even though I got all this knowledge, I'm still patient in a lot of ways because I wish a lot of things were different. But I know how to be patient. Instead of just thinking I'm going to go out and get it on my own or whatever because God's got plans for me. So a lot of this is just learning and helping other people and being patient. And that's one of the things they tell you about. Well, see, your Saturn isn't really retrograde, but they tell you when your Saturn is retrograde, it's a lot of patience. But it's still patience, and like Uranus retrograde and the other ones, it still can be patience. So that's the healing. You get on the right path and you just do it because you're trusting in God who gave you your natal chart. And you do whatever you need to start to get the healing. And as you heal, you watch the type of guys you're talking to. Because why would you talk to a guy that's going to bring you back into drugs? Or like, I'm just different. I don't know. Like, I understand people get sexually hot and everything. But I would never let somebody play me out. Like, you're not going to fuck me and then don't call. And you're not going to fuck me and I'm never going to hear from you. Or you're not just going to use me for a booty call and stuff. Like my twin, the guy, the father of her kids, that's all he was doing. Was just banging her out. Never put, not back, I don't know what he did now, but never put an engagement ring on her finger or nothing. And if he did, why is she calling over here? You know? I mean, I understand the twin flame thing, don't get me wrong, but really, If you're a mother of all these kids by this guy, why are you calling over here? So that's why I said, so we have to be responsible for our actions. Otherwise, there really ain't going to be healing because we don't want to work on nothing. Because either we don't think well, I'm not that bad. Oh, that's just his opinion. You know, and we don't work, so it's not really going to be healing. But then guess what? If you think it was hard doing your natal chart now, wait till the next time, because everything you don't work on is going to be on that. It's going to be on that chart too. And that, you know, if you don't believe that, you need to talk more about reincarnation to, like, say, people in the East, like the Hindus. But even there's people in Asia that believe that too. That'll tell you, you know, yeah, if you don't work on it, you have to work on it in the next life. That's why they call it like ascendant, because it's like it's the entrance almost. Not always on every chart, but the ascendant is kind of like your entrance into this life. That's why they even said the 12th house is the baby in the mother's womb, but the first house is the birth itself. So if you didn't work on the stuff from the past life, you're going to bring it into the interest, into the ascendant. And that's why your 12th house becomes the first house. So that's the best I can give you on all of that information. Now, if anybody else has anything they like to know, natal chart, twin flames, name numerology, birthday numerology, your life purpose and life based on your name numerology, number numerology. If anybody wants any form of consultation, research, twin flame, natal charts, compatibility natal charts. Is this person my soulmate or my twin? I mean, it's endless what we do. You can always contact for more information. For anybody that wants to get started, the information is in the description box below. You can get started. And also for a natal chart, you just need your name. If you don't have your time of birth, we'll ask archangels. City, state, country, if not the USA, and male or female. That's either or. Those are the only options they give you. Now, if you want your life purpose based on your name, numerology, and birthday numerology, then you would of course provide that information as well. And of course, you can always ask for this service, and the services offered and price list offered. That price list and service list, and that'll be emailed to you at your request. All right, so this concludes this video. Thank you. God bless.